Title: They promised to care for my disabled brother, then tried to steal him from me. Chapter 1: The Weight No One Saw Coming. When my parents died in a sudden car crash, I didn't just lose them, I inherited a life I wasn't prepared for. I was 23. My younger brother Alex was 18 and disabled. He can't live alone. He needs help dressing, eating, moving around. He uses a wheelchair most days and struggles to speak, especially when he's tired or upset. There was no life insurance. No savings. The house was a rental, we had to leave. I dropped out of school and moved us into the cheapest ground floor apartment I could find. It's small, worn down, but accessible. To keep us afloat, I started working 2 jobs. Stocking shelves at a grocery store during the day, cleaning offices at night. I barely sleep. I barely exist. Meanwhile, Alex spends most days alone watching the same cartoons, waiting for someone to talk to. We get a government support worker for 6 hours a week. That's all we can afford. It's not nearly enough. I was burning out. Then I remembered what my parents' old friends used to say, Carol and Rob. They were Alex's godparents. If anything ever happens, they told my mom, we'll take care of him. You can count on us. I believed them. My mom believed them. So I picked up the phone and asked if we could talk. Chapter 2: A Promise They Pretended to Forget. Carol sounded surprised when I called, but she agreed to let me come by. I arranged for a friend to stay with Alex for a few hours and drove to their house. A big, beautiful place in a quiet neighborhood. Comfortable. Peaceful. Nothing like the chaos I lived in every day. They offered me tea. Sat me down in their spotless living room. I told them everything, about the rent increase, the cost of a new wheelchair part, the stress of working 2 jobs and still barely scraping by. I didn't cry. I just laid out the facts calmly, honestly. Then I asked if they could help. Not with everything. Just a little, maybe $200 a month to cover care costs, or even just 1 afternoon a week spent with Alex. Some company for him. A break for me. Carol's face changed. Rob looked down at his hands. And then she said something I'll never forget. Well, this is a lot to spring on us. I reminded them of what they promised my parents, that they'd always be there for Alex. That they said they would take care of him. Carol narrowed her eyes. You know, your parents would want you to stand on your own 2 feet. You're an adult now. It sounds like you're trying to guilt us. Guilt? I was stunned. I had come in hope. Desperation. And they were accusing me of manipulation? But it only got worse from there. Chapter 3: We Did Our Part. Rob finally spoke. His voice was cold. Distant. We helped when your parents died. We did our part. Their part? What about Alex? The godson they promised to care for? I told them, he misses you. He still asks about you. Carol snapped, don't try to manipulate us with Alex. She said I should budget better. Get a better job. That I was being disrespectful. That I'd come into their home demanding things like a spoiled child who couldn't manage her own life. My hands were shaking, but I stood up calmly. I'm not here to fight. I came because I didn't know who else to turn to. You made promises. I'm doing everything I can. Carol stood too, voice rising. We don't deserve to be spoken to like this. We were good friends to your parents. I picked up my bag. As I reached the door, I turned to them one last time. I hope you remember what you told my parents. And I hope you think about Alex. Then I left. Sat in my car. And sobbed. I thought the worst was over. That they'd simply walk away. But 2 weeks later, they came back into my life in the cruelest way imaginable. Chapter 4: The Knock That Shook Everything. 2 weeks passed in silence. No calls. No messages. Just the crushing weight of exhaustion as I picked up more shifts to cover the borrowed money for Alex's wheelchair part. Then my phone rang. It was Alex's disability support coordinator, his social worker. Her voice was calm but serious. She said they'd received an anonymous report. Claims that Alex was being neglected. That he was often left alone. That he wasn't being fed properly. That our home was unsafe. My heart dropped. She said she didn't believe the report based on her past visits, but she had to follow protocol. She scheduled a home inspection for 2 days later. I cleaned like I never had before, even though everything was already spotless. I made sure there was fresh fruit, meds organized, floors shining. But I couldn't stop shaking. The visit went fine. The social worker was kind, thorough, and told me afterward that she saw no cause for concern. Alex was well cared for. Our apartment was safe. The accusations were baseless. But I knew who made that report. Carol and Rob. Who else knew the details they used? Who else was angry enough? It wasn't enough that they rejected us. Now, They were trying to take Alex away. Chapter 5. They came to my door screaming. It was a quiet Sunday afternoon. My only day off. Alex and I were watching a movie trying to pretend like life wasn't falling apart. Then the banging started. Not knocking, banging. Fists slamming against the door. I froze. Alex tensed beside me, eyes wide. Loud noises scare him. I looked through the peephole. Carol. And Rob. My stomach twisted. I didn't want to open it, but she wouldn't stop. Neighbors peeked out of their doors. She was yelling, "We need to talk about Alex. Let us in." I cracked the door, chain still on. "You need to leave." She stepped forward, trying to push the door open. "We're his godparents. We have a right to see him." Rob added, "After that report, we were worried." That report. That report. I asked, "You mean the one you made?" Carol screamed, "How dare you? We care about him, unlike you, you're drowning." Alex wheeled up behind me, frightened. He tried to speak but was too upset. Carol's voice turned sugary. "Oh, sweetie, is she keeping you from us?" He shook his head. Backed away. "I told them to leave or I'd call the police." Carol exploded. Called me ungrateful. Said my parents would be disgusted. Then she lunged at the door. Tried to force it open. I shoved back, slammed it, locked it. Alex was crying. But the worst wasn't her meltdown. It was what showed up 2 days later, in a lawyer's envelope. Chapter 6. Courtrooms and Monsters. The letter was from a lawyer, their lawyer. Carol and Rob were concerned for Alex's well-being. They were questioning my guardianship. Accusing me of emotional instability and financial neglect. They wanted visitation. Possibly even custody. They called my plea for help extortion. Twisted the story. Said Carol had a breakdown at my work because I had been cruel. Said their screaming visit to my home was a welfare check. Lies, every line of it. I took it to a legal aid clinic. The lawyer there told me it would be hard for them to take Alex away. But they could still make my life hell. And they were trying. Then Rob appeared at my night job. In the dark. Waiting for me in the parking lot. He tried to talk. I told him to leave. He followed me. Grabbed at my arm. I yelled and drove away, heart pounding like it might stop. The police logged it. My legal aid lawyer filed for a restraining order. In court, I stood shaking while their lawyer claimed they were just concerned godparents. Carol cried. Rob glared. But I had everything: notes, incident numbers, the lawyer letter, the report. And I had truth. The judge granted the restraining order. For me. For Alex. They can't come near us anymore. But the damage is done. Alex draws monsters now. Sleeps lightly. Asks about the angry lady. I tell him she's gone. That he's safe. I hope I'm not lying. Because asking for help didn't save us. It almost destroyed us.